Hi everybody, welcome to class this week. And we're starting a new course on diamond cutter. So this is just sort of a brief intro I'd like to do on this before we start. The next class will be getting right into the content of the course. So this class is going to be based on the Asian Classics Institute course number 6. Geshe Michael Roach's teachings from the 1990s here, so the classic Asian Classics Institute course there. And he wrote a book 20 years ago that you can get, a very famous book, Diamond Cutter. He's done extensive stuff since then. Of course, you can go to that website or see Diamond Cutter Institute or whatever. There's a million different things that he's done, lots of stuff on the internet, on YouTube and so forth. A friend of ours is even teaching another class at the same time on this. And so yeah, there's a lot of access to this material. So I'll be teaching this class on it and using sort of the notes from Asian Classics Institute, but also adding in a lot of stuff, teachings I received from Zasep Rinpoche and other lamas, as well as LamRim and so forth. So I thought for today, just kind of as a way of sort of auspiciousness, as a blessing, to actually recite the Sutra itself, Diamond Cutter Sutra. So I just got it right here in English. I picked this up in Taiwan and Taipei in a layover years ago. It's a wonderful Buddhist country, and there's a little Buddhist bookstore that gave away free books, and they were giving away sutras, and the Diamond Sutra was there, so I picked it up. Here we go. And that would just be a way sort of actually hearing the words right from Buddha on Diamond Cutter, which is really beautiful as a blessing or auspiciousness. And then next class, we can get sort of more to the details, philosophy and teachings around the sutra. Okay, so starting out the Heart Sutra. Homage to perfection, wisdom, the Blessed Mother. Thus I've heard at one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgir in Mass Vulture's Mountain, great assembly of monks and great assembly of bodhisattvas. That time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. That time also, Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva of the great being, was looking perfectly at the practice of profound perfection of wisdom, looking perfectly also at the 5 aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Then, through the power of Buddha, Venerable Rinpoche said to Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva of the great being, how should a son of the lineage train who wishes to engage the practice of profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva of the great being, replied to Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this. Subsequently, looking perfectly and correctly also at the 5 aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, and form is not other than emptiness. Likewise, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, having no characteristics. Not produce and not cease. Then no defilement, no separation from defilement. You have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination on compositional factors, and no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mentality, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile object, no phenomena. There is no I element, so forth, up to no mentality element, also up to no mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death, no exhaustion of aging and death. Likewise, there's no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no exalted awareness, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there's no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide in perfection wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. Passing utterly beyond perversity, they attain the final nirvana. Also, all Buddhas reside perfectly in the 3 times, having relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifest, complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, unsurpassed mantra, the equal and unequal mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it's not false, should be known as the truth. Mantra of perfection of wisdom is proclaimed, Tayatam Gada Paragata Parasampati Bodhisoha. Shariputra Bodhisattva, great being, should train the profound perfection of wisdom like this. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, that he'd spoken well. Good is some lineages like that. Since it's like that, just as you have revealed in that way, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Shariputra, Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, entire circle of disciples, as well as worldly beings, gods, demigods, and spirits, were delighted and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. Okay, so let's just take a moment to do visualization and some prayers just before we start with the sutra here. So we can visualize ourselves in a wide open space, ground like lapis lazuli, and ourselves surrounded by all sentient beings. So our mother on our left, father on our right, people we love the most behind us as support, people we have issues with, problems with, sort of bad karma with, so to speak, in front of us as objects of love, compassion, care, and healing. And moving up from there in concentric circles, all human beings from around the world, all different backgrounds and places. Animals, is sort of the animal realm here, so all sort of life on planet here, planet Earth, from insects, animals, birds, and so forth are all here with us. The whole natural environment. The spirit world in its entirety, all the different beings from very small to very big in the spirit world. Think of all the different planes of existence, astral, ethereal, elemental realms, and so forth. Celestial beings from the demigod and god realms are here. And countless beings from lower states of rebirth, sort of the nightmare realms of hellish states, as well as the hungry ghost realm and so forth. They're all here without exception. All of us here together as a big family, meditating together, all of us on the path of awakening. Just keeping it simple, let's just visualize beautiful dome of a blue sky above us, just above us and in front of us, just simply the founder of our tradition, Buddha Shakyamuni, founder of Buddhism. So he's like a beautiful sun in the sky or a harvest moon, and 3 robes of a monk in lotus position, made of beautiful light or energy, radiant golden light in all directions. And he's holding a begging bowl from medicinal nectar in his left hand. Right hand is in the drips of doing, touching the earth. And at his heart, we can visualize his higher sort of angelic Sambhogakaya form, Vajradhara and Vajradhara in divine embrace, or a young couple wearing crowns, silks, and so forth. Beautiful sapphire blue bodies in sexual embrace. He's in lotus position. She's straddling him with her arms around her neck. His neck, he's got holding a bell in his left hand, Dorji in his right. She's got a skull cup of medicinal nectar in her left hand, and three-gold chopper knife for curved cleaver in her right hand. Now taking refuge here. I know sentient beings to achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I know sentient beings to achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I know all sentient beings to achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I know sentient beings to achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, just from the heart, really generating that refuge. And now bodhicitta here, through the virtues we collect, become the perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Virtues we collect by giving the perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues we collect by giving the perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. So having this intention here, whatever we do here today together, may it be for the enlightenment or awakening of all beings. General four measurables, may everyone be happy, may everyone be free from misery, may no one ever be separated from their happiness, may everyone have equanimity, free from hatred and attachment. So generating love, compassion, joy, and equanimity for all beings. 7 practice, making our practice Buddhist here. We can process in our minds and our hearts here, prostrating, showing respect to the 3 jewels. Making countless offerings from our mind and heart, just like flowers or so forth, all beautiful things. Confessing our negativities, bad habits, downfalls, character flaws, so forth. Acknowledging, owning them. Saying that we're going to purify them. And rejoicing in all the goodness and virtues of all holy beings, of all people around the world, even in ourselves. So we're wanting to increase these in us. Holding in our heart here, just a beautiful white lion throne, sending it up, dissolving Buddha. Please stay with us, Buddha Shakyamuni, all Buddhas, all of our gurus, all our teachers in our lives. And holding an 8-spoke golden Dharma chakra here, we can just sort of send this up, dissolving Buddha as well. Please not just stay, but continue to teach us and guide us. Teach us the Dharma. For Arya Truths, Eightfold Path, all the complete teachings of Sutra and Tantra, that we get enlightened, preferably in one lifetime, and as soon as possible. Always be with us, always teach us this, all through our life and lifetime to lifetime. And finally, dedicating all of this merit, all of our goodness, all of our virtues towards the enlightenment of all sentient beings. Our last offering here, just before we start, let's just hold a beautiful mandala, purified universe. So the Vedic universe here in symbolic form with Mount Meru, 4 continents, 8 subcontinents, all precious, beautiful possessions of a Chakravartin, sort of royal family. 16 knowledge offering goddesses, wisdom goddesses making offerings, so forth. Just all beautiful things held at our heart here and endlessly duplicated in all directions. Beautiful, purified universe. We have all the ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, sun and moon, seen as a Buddha land, and offer thus may all beings enjoy such pyramids. We send forth this jeweled mandala to you, Buddha Shakyamuni, and all of our teachers and all the Buddhas. Om Enam Guru Radha Madala Kamirtiyami. Well, having said that, wonderful, beautiful, blissful golden lights and nectars are just coming down from Buddha Shakyamuni's heart, from the heart of the divine couple at his heart, and blessing us in all sentient beings around. So just like sunlight, just the clouds open and you have sunbeams coming down, beams of light like on a field. This is empowering us, increasing our wisdom, compassion, and power, our spiritual power. Bless Buddha Shakyamuni, please bless our minds, our body, speech, and mind. Continue to be our great guru and guide us to enlightenment. So upon saying that, we can visualize that Buddha Shakyamuni starts to dissolve inwards, or even really small, dissolving into light. It's becoming like a little star in the sky. So it's just at his heart. Now, of course, it's just all that's left as it dissolves inward is a divine couple, Vajradhara and Vajradhara. And then the sky like a beautiful blue diamond. So this is Buddha's higher sort of self, sort of as an angelic, true form, so to speak. And fine couple comes down the crown of our head, about the size of a little sunflower seed made of light and energy, blue light and energy. They enter our crown. So it's almost like a little star, like a shooting star, except slow. Comes down the crown of our head, enters our crown chakra, just in front of our spine, starts to descend to our heart. And once it does, we just feel that they dissolve into our heart, into our root mind, and deep into our soul. All blessings of the Buddhas are go directly into us, right into our heart. All their wisdom, all their compassion, and all their spiritual power. We feel great, great bliss and joy and spaciousness here, clarity. Okay, so just starting, reading glasses on here, starting with the Sutra. Okay. Diamond Sutra, Prajnaparamita Sutra. Thus have I heard. The Buddha was in Sravasti and Jetavana and Pindika Park. Sorry for getting that wrong, if I did. With the great bhikkhus, 1,250 in all. It was mealtime, and the world-honored one, enrobed and holding an alms bowl, he made his way to the city of Sravasti to beg for food. In the city, he begged from door to door, after which he returned to his retreat. After taking his meal, he put away his robe and begging bowl, washed his feet, arranged his seat, and sat down. Then Elder Subhuti, who was in the assembly, arose from his seat and bared his right shoulder, knelt on his right knee, and holding his palms together in great reverence, he asked the Buddha, all bodhisattva mahasattvas should thus pacify and tame their minds. Actually, sorry about this. Here we go. Yeah, good. That's here. Skip the page here. Very rare indeed, world-honored one. Tathagata is good at caring for and minding all the bodhisattvas as well as instructing them well. World-honored one, when good men and good women aspire for anattara samyaksha bodhi, what should their minds abide in, and how could they pacify and tame their minds? The Buddha replied, excellent, excellent, Subhuti. As you have said, the Tathagata is good at caring for and minding all the bodhisattvas as well as instructing them well. You should now listen carefully, and I will speak to you on how good men and women aspiring for anuttara samyaksha bodhi should abide in, pacify, and tame their minds. Yes, world-honored one, we would love to hear. The Buddha told Subhuti, all bodhisattva mahasattvas should thus pacify and tame their minds. All kinds of living beings, whether egg-born, womb-born, moisture-born, or metamorphic-born, whether with form or without form, whether with consciousness or without consciousness, whether non-perceptive or unperceptive, I will cause them to enter nirvana and thus be liberated. By liberating such countless and innumerable number of living beings, there are, in fact, no living beings liberated. Why is that? Subhuti, if bodhisattvas have notions of oneself, others, all beings in their continuing existence, they are not bodhisattvas. Furthermore, Subhuti, bodhisattvas should not abide in any form of practicing dana. The so-called practicing dana without abiding in sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and dharma, Subhuti, bodhisattvas should practice dana as such without abiding in any form. Why is that? If bodhisattvas practice dana without abiding in any form, their merits and virtues are inconceivable and immeasurable. Subhuti, what do you think? Can you conceive and measure the vast space of the East? No, honored one, I cannot. Subhuti, can you conceive and measure the vast space of the South, West, and North in the upper and lower levels of the four directions? No, I cannot, world-honored one. Subhuti, when bodhisattvas practice dana without abiding in any form, their merits and virtues are inconceivable and immeasurable as such. Subhuti, bodhisattvas should therefore abide in a manner as I have taught. Subhuti, what do you think? Can the Tathagata be perceived by his physical bodily form? No, I cannot, world-honored one. The Tathagata cannot be perceived by his physical bodily form. Why is that? The physical bodily form, as mentioned by the Tathagata, is not his physical bodily form. The Buddha told Subhuti, all forms and appearances are unreal and illusory. If you perceive all forms and appearances as such, then you see the Tathagata. Subhuti asked the Buddha, world-honored one, there are quite a number of beings who get to hear these words and sayings. Will they truly believe in them? The Buddha told Subhuti, do not say so. In the latter 500 years after the passing of the Tathagata, there will be those observing the precepts and cultivating virtues. Those who have faith in these words, in saying and believe them to be true. You must know that these people have sown the seeds of goodness. Not just with one Buddha, 2 Buddhas, 3, 4, and 5 Buddhas, but with innumerable millions of Buddhas. And on hearing these words and sayings, they will have immediate surge of pure faith. Subhuti, the Tathagata is all-knowing and all-seeing. These beings will gain an immeasurable blessedness and virtues. Why is that? These beings are no longer attached to the notions of oneself, others, all beings, and their continuing existence and are all devoid of dharma forms and non-dharma forms. Why is that? These beings, if they cling to any external form, they adhere to the notions of oneself, others, all beings in their continuing existence. If they cling to any dharma form, they still adhere to the notions of oneself, others, all beings in their continuing existence. Why is that? If they cling to any of the non-dharma form, They also adhere to the notions of oneself, others, all beings, and their continuing existence. Therefore, they should not cling to any Dharma as well as to any non-Dharma. Hence, the Tathagata always says, you bhikshus should know that my teachings are likened to rafts, where true and correct dharmas are to be relinquished. It would even be more so for incorrect dharmas. Subhuti, what do you think? Has the Tathagata attained to Anuttara Samyaksha Bodhi? Has the Tathagata discoursed on the Dharma? Subhuti said, as I understand the meaning of Buddhist teachings, there is no set Dharma activity called Anuttara Samyaksha Bodhi, and also no set Dharma that the Tathagata can speak of. Why is that? All Dharmas spoken by the Tathagata are not to be taken, conveyed by word of mouth, neither Dharma nor non-Dharma. Why is that? All saints and sages are differentiated by their unconditioned Dharma. Subhuti, what do you think? If someone practices dana by giving away all the 7 treasures that fill up all the great childcosm, does that someone gain a lot of blessedness and virtues? Subhuti said, very much so, world honored one. Why is that? This blessedness and virtue relate to their form and not to their nature. Therefore, Tathagata said there's a lot of blessedness and virtue. If there's another person who holds onto just the 4-line gata in this sutra and explains such to others, his blessedness and virtue far exceeds the aforementioned. Why is that? Subhuti, all Buddhas and their ways of attaining Anuttara Samyaksha Bodhi emanate from this sutra. Subhuti, the so-called Buddha Dharma is not Buddha Dharma. Subhuti, what do you think? Can a Srota Apanana conceive the idea? Will I achieve Srota Apanana Pala or not? Subhuti said, no, world honored one. Why is that? Srota Apanana is named a street entrant, yet he enters into nowhere, not in sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and dharma. Therefore, he is named Srota Apanana. Sorry. It's Apana, sorry. Srota Apana. Subhuti, what do you think? Can Strakdagmi conceive this idea? Will I achieve Strakdagmi Pala or not? Subhuti said, no, world honored one. Why is that? Strakdagami is called a once returner where there is no coming and going. Thus he is called a Strakdagami. Subhuti, what do you think? Can an Anagami conceive this idea? Will I achieve Amagani Pala or not? Subhuti said, no, world honored one. Why is that? Anagami is called never return, whereas there is actually no uncoming. Hence he is called an Anagami. Subhuti, what do you think? Can an Arhat conceive this idea? Will I achieve Arhat Pala or not? Subhuti said, no, world honored one. Why is that? There's actually no name given as Arhat. World honored one, if an Arhat conceives the idea, I will achieve Arhatship. He is attached to the notions of oneself, others, all beings, and their continuing existence. World honored one, the Buddha said, I have gained samadhi of no strife, being the number 1 in humankind, and the number 1 of Arhats free from the passions. I do not have this idea. I am the Arhat free from the passions. World honored one, if I think thus, I have achieved Arhatship. The world honored one would not say that Subhuti likes the practice of Aranya, because Subhuti did no such practice. And it's called Subhuti who likes the practice of Arananya. The Buddha told Subhuti, what do you think? Has the Tathagata acquired any Dharma from Dipankara Buddha in the remote past? World honored one, the Tathagata has not acquired any Dharma from Dipankara Buddha. Subhuti, what do you think? Would bodhisattvas dedicate their merits and virtues to adorn Buddha lands? No, world honored one. Why is that? The adornment of the Buddha lands is not adornment, but is called adornment. Therefore, Subhuti, all bodhisattva mahasattvas should develop a clean and pure mind as such, and should not develop a mind by dwelling on sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and dharma. They should develop their minds without dwelling on anything. Subhuti, if there is someone whose body is like that of Mount Sumeru, to your mind, is his body huge or not? Subhuti said, very huge, world honored one. Why is that? The Buddha said it was not the body, hence it is called a huge body. Subhuti, in the Ganges River, if all the sand grains turn to become the same number of Ganges rivers, would you consider these sand grains of the Ganges rivers to be numerous? Subhuti said, numerous, world honored one. But these Ganges rivers are numerous beyond count, and even more so their sand grains. Subhuti, I now tell you the truth. If there are good men and good women who practice dana, by giving away 7 treasures that fill up the great chylocosm as numerous as the sands of the Ganges rivers, would they acquire much merit? Subhuti said, very much, world honored one. The Buddha told Subhuti, if good men and women follow the teachings in this sutra by holding up to a 4-line gatha and explaining it to others, their merits and blessedness exceeding those of the aforementioned. Furthermore, Subhuti, whenever and wherever this sutra is discoursed, even for as little as a 4-line gatha, you must know that the place is revered by all the world, devas and humans, asuras, who should pay homage to it as the Buddhist stupa and temple. It is more so if there is someone who can hold on to, read, and intone this sutra. Subhuti, you must know that this person has accomplished the utmost and very rare Dharma. Where are the sutras? There dwells the Buddha, and disciples should pay due respects. At this juncture, Subhuti asked the Buddha, world honored one, how should we name this sutra and how should we put it into practice? So the Buddha told Subhuti, this sutra is named Vajra Prajna Paramita. By which name should you revere and put to practice? Why? Subhuti, when the Buddha says it's Prajna Paramita, it is not Prajna Paramita. Subhuti, what do you think? Has the Tathagata expounded on the Dharma? Subhuti replied, world honored one, the Tathagata has said nothing. Subhuti, what do you think? Are all the minute particles of dust in the great chylocosm a great number hard to enumerate? Subhuti replied, very much so, world honored one. Subhuti, of the minute particles of dust, the Tathagata says there are not minute particles of dust, but called minute particles of dust. The Tathagata refers to worlds not as not worlds, but called worlds. Subhuti, what do you think? Can you perceive the Tathagata by his 32 physical marks? No, world honored one. You cannot perceive the Tathagata by his 32 physical marks. Why is that? The Tathagata mentions that the 32 physical marks are not identifying forms, but called 32 physical marks. Subhuti is if there are good men and good women who practice dana by sacrificing their lives as numerous as the sands of the Ganges River, and if there are others who hold on to the 4-line gatha in the sutra and expand it to others, their blessedness are numerous indeed. At this juncture, Subhuti, who has heard this sutra and deeply understood its meaning, burst into tears and sobbingly said to the Buddha, very rare, world honored one. The Buddha discoursed on such a profound sutra, which I have not heard before in the past, since I acquired the eye of wisdom, world honored one. If there is anyone who hears this sutra, develops a pure faith and mind leading to the absolute reality, you must know that this person has accomplished a superlative and rare merits, a world honored one. This absolute reality has no relative form, and hence the Tathagata calls it absolute reality, world honored one. Now that I have heard this sutra, it is not difficult to believe, understand it, to hold on to it. If in the latter 500 years after my passing, sentient beings who get to hear this sutra believe, understand, and hold on to it, this person is the most rare indeed. Why is this so? This person has no notions of oneself, others, all beings, in their continuing existence. Why is that? The form of oneself is unrealistic, and so are the forms of others, all beings, and their continuing existence. Why is that? By departing from each and every form, they are then called the Buddhas. The Buddha told Subhuti, such is the case. If there is anyone who gets to hear this sutra, but is not frightened, scared, or fearful, you must know that this person is very rare indeed. Why is that? Subhuti, when the Tathagata mentions the first paramita, it is not the first paramita, but called the first paramita. Subhuti, when the Tathagata mentions the Kansti paramita, it is not the Kansti paramita. Sorry, it is, let me rephrase this. When the Tathagata mentions the Kasanti, I guess that's Santi like peace, peace, Kasanti paramita, it is not Kasanti paramita, but called Kasanti paramita. Why is that? Subhuti, when in the past my body was mutilated by King Kali Raja, I did not then have notions of oneself, others, all beings in their continuing existence. Why is that? Because in the past, when my body was cut up into pieces, if I had notions of oneself, others, all beings in their continuing existence, I would have borne intense anger and hatred. Subhuti, I recall that in the past, about 500 lifetimes ago, I was a Kastirshi. And during that lifetime, I had no discriminatory notions of oneself and others, all beings in their continuing existence. Therefore, Subhuti, bodhisattvas should depart from attachment to all kinds of forms and develop a mind for Anuttara Samyaksha Buddhi. They should not develop a mind abiding in sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and Dharma, but rather develop a mind not abiding in anything. If the mind abides in anything, it should not be so. Therefore, the Buddha says that the bodhisattva's mind should not practice dana abiding in forms. Subhuti bodhisattvas, for the sake of benefiting all beings, should so practice dana. The Tathagata says that all kinds of forms are neither forms, and also all types of beings are neither beings. Subhuti, the Tathagata, is a true speaker, the honest speaker, and such real suchness speaker. The speaker of no lies, a speaker of no contradictions. Subhuti, the dharmas acquired by the Tathagata are neither real nor false. Subhuti, if bodhisattva's minds abide in any dharma while practicing dharma, it is like a person entering the darkness and not seeing anything. If bodhisattva's minds practice dharma without abiding in any dharma, it is like a person with eyes who can see all kinds of colors brightly lit by the sunshine. Subhuti, in the forthcoming era, if there are good men and good women who can read and intone, understand and practice according to the sutra, they are thoroughly known and seen by the Tathagata and the Buddha's wisdom to have accomplished boundless merits. Subhuti, if there are good men and good women who sacrifice their lives like the sands of the Ganges River in the morning, and again sacrifice their lives like the sands of the Ganges River at midday, and further sacrifice their lives like the sands of the Ganges rivers in the afternoon, over countless trillions of kalpas, if there's again someone who has heard the sutra with complete faith, his blessedness exceeds the former, let alone those who copy the sutra in writing, read and intone, understand and practice as well as preach it to others. Subhuti, in a nutshell, this sutra has inconceivable, immeasurable, and boundless merits. Intended by the Tathagata for the Mahayanas and the utmost level of practitioners, if there are people who can read and intone, understand and practice as well as extensively preach to others this sutra, they are thoroughly known and seen by the Tathagata to accomplish immeasurable, indescribable, boundless, and inconceivable merits. These people shoulder the responsibility of the Tathagata in attaining Anuttara Samyaksha Buddhi. Why is that, Subhuti? Those who delight in lesser dharmas have discriminatory notions of oneself, others, and all beings in their continuing existence, and therefore cannot hear and understand, read and intone as well as preach the sutra to others. Subhuti, wherever there is this sutra, it is to be revered by all the world, devas, humans, and asuras alike. You must know that this place is a stupa where all beings should revere, circumambulate, and pay their respects, as well as offer flowers and incense around this place in worship. Furthermore, Subhuti, good men and good women who read and intone, understand and practice the sutra, if they are humiliated and insulted by others, if they are destined for evil realm by virtue of their past sinful karma, now that they are humiliated and insulted by others in their present life, their sinful karma of previous lives will instantly be destroyed, and they will attain Anuttara Samyaksha Bodhi. Subhuti, I can recall that over innumerable Asankhya kalpas ago, before the time of Dipankara Buddha, I met 804 trillion Buddhas, whom I served and paid homage to without any let-up. If there are people who in the late Dharma ending age can read and intone, understand and practice the sutra, the merits so gained far exceed the merits I gained in serving and offering to all the Buddhas. To the extent of less than 1 out of 100,000 or a million times, even beyond any comparison and calculation. Subhuti, if good men and good women who in the late Dharma ending age can read and intone, understand and practice the sutra, the merits so gained, I say categorically, will drive those who hear them utterly crazy with deep doubts and disbelief. Subhuti, you must realize that the meanings of the sutra are inconceivable, and so are the rewards thereof. At this juncture, Subhuti asked the Buddha, World Honored One, if good men and good women aspire for Anuttara Samyaksha Bodhi, what should they abide in, and how should they tame and pacify their minds? Buddha told Subhuti, good men and good women who aspire for Anuttara Samyaksha Bodhi, he says that's right, should give rise to this thought, I shall liberate all beings. And when they have liberated, there is not one single There is not one single being liberated. Why is that? Subhuti, if bodhisattvas have discriminatory notions of the self, others, all beings in their continuing existence, they are not bodhisattvas. Why is that? Subhuti, there is actually no means for aspiring for anuttara samyaksha bodhi. Subhuti, what do you think? Has the Tathagata during the times of Dikamkara Buddha had any means for attaining anuttara samyaksha bodhi? No, world honored one. As I understand the meaning spoken by the Buddha during the times of Dipamkara Bodhi, as I understand the meaning spoken by the Buddha during the times of Dipamkara Buddha, the Buddha did not have any means for attaining anuttara samyaksha bodhi. The Buddha said, such is the case, such is the case. Subhuti, there is actually no means for the Tathagata to attain anuttara samyaksha bodhi. Subhuti, if there are any means for the Tathagata to attain anuttara samyaksha bodhi, Dipamkara Buddha would not foretell in your next life you will be the Buddha named Shakyamuni. Since there is actually no means for attaining anuttara samyaksha bodhi, therefore Dipamkara Buddha foretold my future and said thus, you will in your next life become a Buddha named Shakyamuni. Why is that? As Tathagata, it means that all dharmas are really thus. If someone says that Tathagata attains anuttara samyaksha bodhi, subhuti, there's actually no means for the Buddha to attain anuttara samyaksha bodhi. Subhuti, the anuttara samyaksha bodhi attained by the Tathagata is neither real nor false. Therefore, the Tathagata said that all dharmas are Buddha dharmas. Subhuti, the so-called all dharmas are not all dharmas, but are called all dharmas. Subhuti, for instance, a person's body grows big and tall. Subhuti said, world honored one. The Tathagata says the person's body grows big and tall. It is not a big body, but called a big body. Subhuti, so there are bodhisattvas, if they said thus, I shall liberate countless numbers of beings, they are not called bodhisattvas. Why is that? Subhuti, there is actually no dharma called bodhisattva. Hence, the Buddha says that in all dharmas, there is no discriminatory notions of oneself, others, all beings in their continuing existence. Subhuti, if bodhisattvas said thus, I will adorn Buddha lands, they are not called bodhisattvas. Why is that? Tathagata says adorning Buddha lands is not adorning, but called adorning. Subhuti, if bodhisattvas thoroughly understand the absence of Atman and the Dharma and the nature of things, the Tathagata says they are real bodhisattvas. Subhuti, what do you think? Does the Tathagata have human eyes? Yes, world honored one, the Tathagata has human eyes. Subhuti, what do you think? Does the Tathagata have Deva eyes? Yes, world honored one, the Tathagata has Deva eyes. Subhuti, what do you think? Does the Tathagata have wisdom eyes? Yes, world honored one, the Tathagata has wisdom eyes. Subhuti, what do you think? Does the Tathagata have Dharma eyes? Yes, world honored one, the Tathagata has Dharma eyes. Subhuti, what do you think? Does the Tathagata have Buddha eyes? Yes, world honored one, the Tathagata has Buddha eyes. Subhuti, what do you think? Of all the sand grains in the Ganges River, does the Buddha say that they are all sand grains? Yes, world honored one, the Tathagata says they're all sand grains. Subhuti, what do you think? If all the sand grains in one Ganges River became the same number of Ganges rivers, if there were Buddha realms as numerous as all the sand grains in these Ganges rivers, is the number huge or not? Very much so, world honored one. The Buddha told Subhuti, in all these realms, the entire living beings have several kinds of states of minds which the Tathagata is fully aware of. Why is that? The Tathagata says that all states of mind are not of the mind, but called the mind. Why is that? Subhuti, the mind of the past cannot be seized. The mind of the present cannot be seized. The mind of the future cannot be seized. Subhuti, what do you think? If a person practices dana by giving away 7 treasures that fill up all the great Chandalchasm, does this person's act of charity gain a lot of blessedness? Yes, world honored one. By virtue of this act, this person's gained a lot of blessedness. Subhuti, if merits and blessedness are tangible, the Tathagata would not say there is a lot of merits and blessedness, because merits and blessedness are intangible. The Tathagata says that the merits and blessedness so gained are a lot. Subhuti, what do you think? Can the Buddha be perceived by his perfect physical body? No, world honored one. The Tathagata should not be perceived by his perfect physical body. Why is that? The Tathagata says that the perfect physical body is not the perfect physical body, but merely called the perfect physical body. Subhuti, what do you think? Can the Tathagata be perceived by his perfect physical features? No, world honored one. The Tathagata should not be perceived by his perfect physical features. Why is that? Tathagata says that the perfect physical features are not perfect physical features, but merely called perfect physical features. Subhuti, you must not say that Tathagata has this thought, I'm going to preach the Dharma. Do not have this idea. Why is that? If people say that Tathagata has no Dharma to preach, it amounts to slander of the Buddha, as they cannot understand what I have said. Subhuti, the preacher of the Dharma, has no Dharma to preach, and this is called the preaching of the Dharma. In that instant, Elder Subhuti said to the Buddha, world honored one, there'll be quite a number of beings in future generations who will get to hear this Dharma. Will they have faith and confidence in it? The Buddha said, Subhuti, there are neither living beings nor not living beings. Why is that? Subhuti, the so-called living beings, the Tathagata says they are not living beings, but called living beings. Subhuti asks the Buddha, world honored one, the Buddha in attaining Anuttara Samyakshya Buddhi, has he acquired nothing at all? Such is the case. Subhuti, in attaining Anuttara Samyakshya Buddhi, I gain not the slightest of the Dharma, and it is just called Anuttara Samyakshya Buddhi. Furthermore, Subhuti, the Dharma that is equal and universal without high and low comparisons, is called Anuttara Samyakshya Buddhi. Without abiding in notions of oneself, others, all beings in the continuing existence who practice virtuous deeds will acquire Anuttara Samyakshya Buddhi. Subhuti, the so-called virtuous deeds, the Tathagata says, are not virtuous deeds, but called virtuous deeds. Subhuti, if in a great childocosm someone practices dana by giving away 7 treasures equal to all Mount Sumerus, and if there is someone who reads it in tongues and practices the Prajnaparamita Sutra, or even its 4-line Gata, and expounds it to others, the merits of the former are less than 1/100th, 1/1,000,000th, or an infinitesimal minute portion to the latter. Subhuti, what do you think? You must not say that the Tathagata has this thought, I shall emancipate all beings. Subhuti, do not have this thought. Why is that? There are actually no living beings to be emancipated by the Tathagata. If there are living beings for the Tathagata to emancipate, the Tathagata has discriminatory notions of oneself, others, and all beings in their continuing existence. Subhuti, when the Tathagata talks about an egoistic self, there is actually no selfhood, but ordinary people think there is an ego entity. Subhuti, ordinary people, the Tathagata says they are not ordinary people. Subhuti, what do you think? Can the Tathagata be recognized by his 32 physical marks? Subhuti said, so be it, recognize the Tathagata by his 32 physical marks. The Buddha said, Subhuti, if the Tathagata can be recognized by his 32 physical marks, then the Chakravarti would be Tathagata. Subhuti then said to the Buddha, world honored one, if I understand the meaning of Buddha's words, the Tathagata should not be recognized by his 32 physical marks. At this moment, the world honored one uttered the following Gata. He who sees me by form, seeks me by sound. This person practices erroneous ways and cannot see the Tathagata. Subhuti, if you think the Tathagata, by his not perfect features, gains Anuttara Samyakshya Buddhi, Subhuti, do not have this thought. The Tathagata, by not his perfect features, gains Anuttara Samyakshya Buddhi. Subhuti, if you think this way, those who seek Anuttara Samyakshya Buddhi would say that all dharmas are annihilated and extinguished. Do not have this thought. Why is that? Those who seek Anuttara Samyakshya Buddhi would not say that all dharmas are annihilated and extinguished. Subhuti, if a bodhisattva practices dana by giving away 7 treasures, as many as worlds of the sand grains that fill the Ganges River, and if there is a person who understands that all dharmas are without an ego entity and is accomplished in words and deeds, this bodhisattva's merits exceed those of the previous mentioned bodhisattva. Subhuti, all bodhisattvas do not accept any blessedness. Subhuti asks the Buddha, world honored one, what do you mean by bodhisattvas not accepting any blessedness? Subhuti, bodhisattvas should not be greedy about their blessedness. Therefore, they are said to be not accepting blessedness. Subhuti, if someone says, a Tathagata comes and goes, sits and reclines, this person does not understand the meaning that I have said. Why is that? By Tathagata, he who comes from nowhere and goes nowhere is called Tathagata. Subhuti, if good men and good women grind that great childocosm into minute particles, what do you think? Are the minute particles a lot in quantity? A lot indeed, world honored one. Why is that? If the minute particles do actually exist, the Buddha would not say they are minute particles. Why is that? When the Buddha says that minute particles, they are not, when the Buddha says minute particles, they are not minute particles, but called minute particles. World honored one. As the Tathagata said, the great Chilocosm is not a world, but called a world. Why is that? If worlds do actually exist, they are a combination form. When the Tathagata mentions a combination form, it is not a combination form, but called a combination form. Subhuti, a combination form, is unspeakable, but common folks are attracted to its form. Actually, common folks are attached, but common folks are attached to its form. Subhuti, if someone says the Buddha mentions the attachment to notions of oneself, others, all beings in their continuing existence, Subhuti, what do you think? Does that person understand my meaning or not? World honored one, that person does not understand the meaning expounded by the Tathagata. Why is that? The world honored one mentions that attachment to notions of oneself, others, all beings in their continuing existence is not attachment to notions of oneself, others, all beings in their continuing existence, but called attachment to notions of oneself, others, all beings in their continuing existence. Subhuti, those who seek Anuttar Samyaksha Bodhi in treating all dharmas should thus know, thus see, thus believe and understand, and not cling to their forms and appearances. Subhuti, the so-called Dharma forms, the Tathagata says, are not Dharma forms, but called Dharma forms. Subhuti, if someone practices dana by giving away 7 treasures that fill up countless Asanga worlds, and if good men and good women develop the mind of a bodhisattva by holding on to this sutra and its 4-line gata, read and intone it while preach it to others, their blessedness exceed the former. How should the sutra be preached to others? By not attached to any form remaining immovable as such. Why is that? All conditioned and functioning dharmas are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, dewdrops, and lightning, and should be viewed as such. This is beautiful, and this is actually in the Chud sadhnas. Just if you should practice the Rupa tradition at the end when you're offering Dharma, this is the beautiful. So you chant this. It's beautiful. So this is from the Diamond Sutra right here. I will read it again. All conditioned and functioning dharmas are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, dewdrops, and lightning, and should be viewed as such. After the Buddha completed discoursing on this sutra, Elder Subhuti, all bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, apasakas, and apasikas, as well as all celestial and human beings and asuras, after listening to the Buddha's teachings, were greatly rejoiced, accepted, and believed, and put into practice. And this is here. The Parinamagata just sort of finishes with this here. This is really beautiful. Says, may I be absolved of the 3 hindrances and all kinds of afflictions. May I gain the wisdom that is clear and understood. May all my karmic barriers be removed completely, so that I may always tread on the way of the bodhisattvas generation after generation. May the merit so derived be applied towards eradicating present karma, so that felicity and wisdom are thereby enhanced, and superlative good roots are nurtured. All calamities arising from war and conflict, as well as famine and hunger, are eradicated completely. All people practice humility and forbearance. For all those who provide funds and help circulate this publication, may all their kinsmen enjoy peace and happiness, and the departed relatives receive a lift to the higher realms. May the climate be clement in favorable ways. All people enjoy health and tranquility. May all sentient beings and Dharmadhatu attain the superlative unsurpassed way. So we can just take a moment to dedicate this. Wonderful. It's always so purifying and beautiful to read sutras. So by blessings of Buddha Shakyamuni, all holy beings, all the light beings, all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Takinis, Dharma protectors, all of our precious gurus who are teaching us to this day the truth of karma, of causes and their effects, and part of our pure superior bodhicitta motivation. May all our dharma wishes be fulfilled. In particular, may we really be able to realize, understand, put into practice, and really gain the attainments of the Diamond Sutra. Okay, amen. There we go. So we'll talk to you and see everybody next time. Thank you.